Getting a job is horrifying, and that might sound a little bit surprising if you've been around this channel for a while, because the whole thing that I am known for, right, the one video that everybody pays attention to is about how I lost my job to fake PDF allegations, link at the top right, and with that video, you know, the whole conflict was because of circumstances in my life, I ended up losing my job, and then had to fight to get it back. And now that I got my job back, you'd think that I would really be excited, but that excitement has been replaced with a lot of fear, and I really don't understand it. As of me recording this video right now, I'll probably already be back at work by the time I've got this out, but at the time of me recording this video, I have not gone back to work yet. I go back to work tomorrow morning, and it is scary. I don't know why. I've worked the job for so long, for so many years, with no issue whatsoever. And I go back to my job, and all of a sudden, I just can't do it anymore because I am paralyzed with fear. I don't understand it. I don't understand how that can even happen. It doesn't make sense. And I wanted to make a video about it because I genuinely do not get how I am so scared about going back to a job I had worked for so long. And I really wanted to talk about this because it is such an odd thing to feel. And I wanted to try to talk about and highlight some of the reasons why I might be feeling so scared about going to my job. Because, truth be told, getting a job in 2026 is horrifying. That much has been said both by the title and myself in this video, but what I haven't touched on is why getting a job is so scary. And, well, for one, and this is the step that I thankfully get to avoid because I've already went back to my job, is the fact that nobody fucking hires anybody anymore. I don't know if you have ever tried to get a job recently, but if you have, you would know how fucking awful it is to try to get any employment anywhere. Listen, you can go to McDonald's, and they would require like 5 years of work experience for you to go to McDonald's. Why do I need 5 years of work experience to go to McDonald's? It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, thankfully I got my job back and where I had been before, and you know, I could have not, and if I could have, well, who knows if I would have been able to get a job anywhere, because they want so much experience from somebody, and if the only job I had gotten fired from, it doesn't matter how long I've worked the job for, that's going to be a stain, and I'll never be able to get a job anywhere, and since I can't go back and live with my mother for reasons that I've talked about on this channel before, you know, I just be on the street, and it's a really scary thing to think about. You know, we are at the point where a lot of Gen Z is finally going out to navigate the adult world, whether that be going to college, getting a job, trying to settle down for a little bit, taking a gap year, you know, whatever they are doing, they are growing up. And the fact that my generation is struggling so much just to be able to pay the bills is ridiculous. And there's a lot of the sentiment from, you know, the older generation, you know, from my parents' generation and my grandparents' generation, who were like, you need to get up off your lazy ass and work harder. And well, in a lot of cases, yes, I would agree. Listen, I can be a lazy fucking asshole all the time. But one of the things that isn't so easy is you actually gotta get hired by somebody. You know, not everybody can just be self-employed and make $1 million by the time they turn 18. That is a 1 in a million story that will never ever be you. Realistically, if you are watching this video, you need to get the thought that you're going to win the lottery or that you're going to become some unknown, unequivocal god of yes. Just throw it out the window, alright? It's not happening. Right? What you have to focus on is being able to actually get a job, put in the applications, try to figure out where the job is at. And it should be that simple, but it's not. And it's really weird because you'd think that an entry-level job like McDonald's, like Walmart, like all of these other places would be just apply, have a clean record, good for you, go get the job. But it doesn't work like that, and it's weird, alright? Employers should take chances on people because that's how, you know, they gain all of these people to begin with. The CEO of whatever company you're applying for didn't just randomly spawn out of the womb and become that CEO. I mean, good chance they were nepotized, but the person who founded the company, you know, they didn't just snap their fingers, get nepotized into a company. They didn't gain anything. They didn't do anything magical. They just got it. Right? They started a job from nothing, and they had to put in all the hard work themselves. And what I don't understand is why corporations anymore just expect you to not put in any work anymore. You either have the experience, have the connections, or you don't get a job. It's shitty, and it fucking sucks. And that brings me neatly over to my next point, the fact that you just do not get paid enough, at least in the US, you do not get paid enough to actually make a livable wage. It is ridiculous. Like, the US federal minimum wage is something like $7.25 an hour or something absurd like that. I'll probably put the exact number on the screen right now, but the fact that you are making $7 an hour where it costs $7 just to be able to get a McDouble, alright? I don't know what kind of fantasy land these politicians and bureaucrats are living in, right? Why do I need to go through all this effort to get this entry-level job that I probably had to fight for years to get, and you're telling me that an employer can give me $7 an hour? Now, realistically, you know, is anybody going to be really hiring on at $7 an hour? No. But the fact that that's even a thing that people can do, the fact that you can just hire somebody on for $7.25 an hour when that costs less than the amount it takes to feed yourself one meal during a day is insane. And it really goes to show how fucked up America is when it comes to its working culture. Because listen, I don't know why we have this fucking land filled with billionaires, and we cannot, even as the common everyday working people, not manage to afford anything. It doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get why I can't afford groceries while Jeff Bezos is on his 15th yacht right now. Please explain to me how that makes sense. Like, $7 is not a livable wage. Hell, you know, in Ohio where I live, the minimum wage is like $12. $12 really isn't even a minimum wage. I'm not minimum wage, a livable wage. And you're just expecting me to be able to pay that somehow? You're expecting me to be able to get the minimum wage and just to somehow manage to afford all my life things? This is why people still live with their parents at 20. This is why people still, you know, have to get a roommate. This is why people go to college and they can't if they don't have their parents' income to help them because they genuinely cannot get said job. It's impossible. It is infuriating that it is impossible because, you know, you should be able to move out when you're ready to move out. It doesn't have to be when you're 18, but if you're in the unfortunate position that I was when you were forced to move out, you know, evicted at 17, how the fuck are you expected to live in the world if you can't do shit? It doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't, and I don't get why we're like this. Again, this is supposed to be America. You know, we have one of the best valued currencies in the world, the literal universal currency, and you're telling me that we can't afford to pay our workers $15 an hour? Like, I have heard the minimum wage in New Zealand, right? Somebody said it was like $30-something an hour. My jaw dropped to the fucking floor. $30 an hour? Right? What do we have in America? I'll tell you what we have, 7. And listen, the New Zealand dollar is less powerful than the American dollar, but if you want to convert that, that's like $20-something an hour, US, to just live in a different country. That is ridiculous. Like, no wonder the quality of life is better in other countries if we can't even afford the ability to fucking pay our own bills because the federal minimum wage is too low. Like, I get that all the mega corporations are here and you need to make it cheap to keep them here, but you're really telling me you can't even afford $15 an hour? Because listen, I have been living off of $15 an hour, soon to be $16 an hour, for 2 years, and I've barely been able to scrape by. This is without a car, this is without anything, and I'm just, you know, trying to do something. It doesn't make sense. I don't get it. And it would have made, I don't know. It's just depressing to think about. It's depressing to think that we live in a society where the most powerful people on the planet can just get away with doing whatever the fuck they want, and we can't even afford groceries. It's really fucking annoying. And that leads into my next point. You know, the homelessness rate is way too fucking high. Hey, let me ask you a question. I give you a bit of time to think about it, right? What is going to be the leading cause of homelessness in a country where the minimum wage is $7 an hour and you can't get an entry-level job because they're looking for 5 years of experience? Go on, I'll give you a second. Okay, seconds up. It's the fact that nobody can fucking afford anything. I know, big shocker, right? You can't afford a house, you can't afford a place to stay, if you can't even afford to feed yourself. Listen, I'm sorry, if it comes between food and water and a roof over your head, just biologically, the food and water is more important. Maybe not the food, but definitely the water. You know, you can live 3 weeks without shelter, or 3 hours without shelter, right? That's what they generally say, but you can find shelter anywhere, right? You can hide under a tree, you can hide under a bench, you can hide under a bus or something. You can get yourself a box and live inside it, okay? It's sad, but you can. And then after that, what comes next? food and water. Those are the two things that you can't just get on the side of the road, because you can't really go around killing animals. I mean, you can loot dumpsters, but that's very unhealthy and is likely to get you killed. So what are your options? Sit on the edge of the street and beg, or spend what little money you can make, your $7.50 an hour, in order to buy yourself food, because hey, guess what? You can't really worry too much about shelter if you have food now, can ya? Only thing that matters is food, and if you don't have the food, well, then you kinda just suck and you've gotta be depressed. Isn't that fun, right? Aren't we so happy we live in a society where homelessness rates are so fucking high because the minimum wage is so fucking low, and the barrier to entry to get even the most basic of jobs is so fucking high? It's really incredible. And you know, people have asked me, right, if I had actually lost my job and I had actually fucking just not been able to keep my apartment, where would have I went? And I will tell you where I would have went. Side of the fucking road. Because if it comes between me living on the side of the road and me living at my mother's house again, I would live on the side of the road any day a week. Was genuinely one of the most miserable and heart-wrenching experiences of my life, is having to live at my fucking mother's house. And if somebody held me at gunpoint and told me that I had to go back and live with my mother in order to live, I would stare them straight in the eyes and I would tell them to pull the fucking trigger, because I am not going back there. I will not go back to my mother's house, okay? I survived over a decade of the bullshit, and I just can't do it anymore. I really can't do it anymore. It sucks. It's awful, and I would never go back in a million years, and it sucks to believe that that's the thing, because again, America has the highest homelessness, one of the highest homelessness rates on the fucking planet. Why? We're the richest country in the world. Why can we not afford to pay our workers basic wages so we can fucking just go get a house? It doesn't make sense. You know, the way you look at it, the way you see it, society is so fucking backwards and twisted when it comes to being able to get a job anymore, and that's what makes it so terrifying, you know? Because if you don't get a job, right, you are dead, basically. You're not physically dead, but you, in a spiritual and fulfillment sense, are just dead. Your life dreams and goals are just dead in the ground right there, all because you got unlucky, were born into a non-rich family, because you had really shitty parents, or you're just damn unlucky. Just plain unluckiness. That's what could have happened. And it's really frustrating, and it's really, really fucking sad to think about, and it's really kind of put into perspective where I'm at with things. And, you know, I feel like that segues neatly into my next point, right? I have a job, right? I got the job back. I fought at union court, or with the courts and the unions and whatnot, for God knows how long. I think it was about 3 weeks, and after over a month of this, of not knowing whether or not I was going to get a job, of having to borrow money from friends, of everything, I finally get the job back, and now I'm more scared than ever. Because here's the thing, I was hired back on with the last chance agreement, which is exactly how it sounds. If you fuck up again, you're out of a job, no second chances, termination, and if that happens, I am biblically fucked, okay? This YouTube thing, alright, my videos like this one will make like maybe 1,000, 2,000 views, okay? My other videos that aren't about this will make like 200 views, okay? This is not a sustainable career option. Even if I turned advertisements on, which I don't, because I don't think I would make enough money off of it right now, even if I were to turn ads on, you would get jack diddly fucking squat from doing that, because hey guys, guess what? You know, it's 2,000 views. That sounds like a lot, and really it is, genuinely. Thank you to every single person who is watching this, but it just does not make sense. It would not make sense from a, you know, purely entertainment standpoint for me to put ads on a video if I don't have at least 10,000, because that's the point to where you could start making a decent enough chunk of change to make monetization worth it. And because I don't have that monetization, it wouldn't make sense for me to have YouTube, okay? So this, you know, I've got a little bit of side income from Twitch, maybe a minuscule amount of YouTube if somebody, like, donates a super or something on my channel, but that's it, alright? My part-time job, not my part-time job, well, I guess it is my part-time job, but, like, you know, my 9-to-5 job, that is, like, the most important thing to me right now. Alright, if I lose that, I am beyond fucked, and that's what makes getting a job in 2026 so fucking terrifying. Because if you can't get the job, you're fucked. If you lose the job, you're fucked. And this is something that I really want to talk about right here, you know? I feel like we make a lot of jokes about employment anymore, right? How you can't get a J-star B, we're all getting J-star Bs, you can't say the J slur, you know, you can't talk about jobs here, it's really stupid. And part of that, I feel like, comes to the fact that everybody's horrified to get a job. Nobody wants a job, not because they're lazy, I mean, some of them might be lazy, but it's because the working culture is so terrifying anymore. Like, think about it. Think about being like a 16-year-old who's available to work and can finally start getting into the workforce. They see all these stories about how jobs are the most miserable thing ever. They see it how they're like soul-crushing and wasting their life, and when they look at the practicality of it, 5 years of work experience needed, about $10 an hour to work at the place they're trying to work at. Look around anywhere, well guess what? They don't have a lot of connections, they don't have people to get them to that job, so what do? They sit at home and they play video games, and then they go online and they see all these memes about how don't sign up for a job, it's really bad, and they play into it, because you can't, like, I've definitely thought about this a lot myself, right? If you can't do something, right? If you are in the position to where you are unable to do something about a really fucking shitty situation, the best thing to do is laugh about it. Because if you don't laugh about it, right, the alternative is wallowing in it and being horrified about the thing that you're laughing about, right? Like, I would much rather lighten up my situation with humor rather than just kind of dump myself off of a bridge and pray to God that everything works out in the end. Because praying to God, you know, it's not a very good strategy, I'll be completely honest. Praying to God is never going to be one of those things that you just really want to do, because praying to God is bad. Okay? Well, not praying to God is bad. Praying to God is actually a really good thing to do. But, you know, relying on God to save you isn't necessarily going to be something that's going to help you out in the long run, because at the end of the day, you still got to put in the work yourself, you know? As much as we would like to pray to divine entities to help us out of our situation, or as much as we'd like to go into the store and buy a lottery ticket and scratch it off, it's really bad. It's really something that you're not going to be able to do, because, hey, guess what, guys? I'm going to be honest with you. Let me keep it a buck. The only person who could really dig you out of your hole is you. Yeah, other people can help. Yeah, you can get money from other people. But at the end of the day, the only person who's ever going to be able to dig you out of your hole is you. And it really fucking sucks, you know? I think if you've known me for a little bit, I tried to make a video talking about this. It bombed. You know, I'm going to keep doing this until one of these videos actually get enough people for me to be satisfied with. It's a really important message to get out there. You know, the US as a country fucking sucks. Alright? I don't feel like that's a very long stretch, and it doesn't even have to be in a strictly political sense. I have my political views, as does everybody else, but it's not even about the politics right now. It is about the fact that we live in a culture, we live in a country, should I say, where getting a job is not the, you know, gold standard. You know, that American dream of getting a house is just completely dead and buried in the ground. You know, trying to just ignore everything, pray that it's all going to be fine, is never going to help out in the long run. Look, we get gun violence all the time. Everybody is getting shot up every other day. It's really sad. You know, we've got all of these crimes that are going unpunished. Meanwhile, innocent people are getting put in jail while all of these powerful guys are just running around being able to do whatever, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. In the working crisis, God, the working crisis is the worst part about being here right now. Listen, I can't say that other countries don't have it worse than the US. They do. They absolutely do. But just because people have it worse than me doesn't mean I am just invalid in my desire for wanting things to be better. Because I do want things to be better. I want things to be better for me. I want things to be better for other people. I want things to be okay for everybody. And I feel like with that, it's really got me thinking about what life would be outside of the US, you know? I want to move out of the US. That's something that I didn't actually really get a touch on in that rant the other day, because it was really shittily put together, and it was 3 a.m. for one, but for two, I really hadn't fully formed the thought. But someday I would like to move out of the US, you know, maybe Canada is a good place to move to, maybe somewhere in Europe. I mean, Canada is the most realistic option because family is nearby. I mean, what little family I still have good relations with, but, you know, Europe is good too. I mean, literally anywhere seems better than here right now, within reason. Obviously, I don't want to be waltzing into, like, Russia or North Korea or something like that, because I feel like those places are worse, but I'm really living in a shitty situation, and it doesn't seem like things are going to let up anytime soon, and it sucks, because I want to be able to live my life. You know, ever since I've sat in there, getting my ass beaten to a pulp by my mother since I was like fucking 15, 14 or some shit, the only thing I could imagine is when I finally managed to get out of that shitty situation, when I finally managed to become an adult and get my own money. I heard adulthood sucked, and I wasn't one of those people that was like, adulthood is so fucking amazing, I'm gonna have all my own money. No, I knew it was gonna be shit, but I thought that it would be better, and it was better than living at home for a while. You know, obviously working isn't fun, obviously having all this shit isn't fun, but it's it was much better than living at home. But recently, within these past couple of years, you know, ever since I moved out, things went from fine to really fucking shitty, and I've kind of just had to ride the wave along with it. I've come to realize how fucked society is and how fucked the place that we live in is, because, well, it's just, people don't seem to care. You know, at the end of the day, the lawmakers are the ones who really set the stage for what everybody thinks about in the world, and if they don't do anything, we can't expect to do anything either, and it's sad, it's depressing. It's really depressing to know that we live in a society where the big guy doesn't care, and they leave the little guy to fend for themselves. It sucks, and the only thing we could really do is put our heads down, put our face to the grindstone, and try better. And, you know, obviously, leaving the country isn't as simple as it thinks either. Obviously, I've got a grandmother who's possibly coming down with dementia. We don't know, and we're scared, right? We want to see if she's going to be okay, because if she's not okay, then I want to stay with her, at least until she lost her lucidity, because, well, I'm pretty sure she has me as her power of attorney. For those of you who don't live in the US, the power of attorney is basically the one who takes her off of life support, so I definitely have to stick around until she passed away, or she wanted to be euthanized, one of the two. I'm not sure if you can actually euthanize yourself in Ohio. It's probably illegal in this state, but I know there's some US states that let you do it, right? And until one of those two things happen, I wouldn't leave her, because I don't want her to suffer. You know, she's my grandmother. She's one of the only people that actually helped me out of the bullshit that I found myself in as a kid, and I feel like I owe it to her to kind of, like, pay it back, because if I didn't pay it back, well, I kind of feel shitty about myself. And, you know, even with that, you need so much fucking money to move out of the US, it's ridiculous. Like, you need enough money to live in a different country for multiple years, getting the work experience in that country, and then you need to, like, live there for a while. You gotta pray you get yourself a citizenship. It is a process that takes a decade sometimes, and it's really fucking horrible, because at any point in the process, you can just be booted out and sent back to whatever life you were living before, except now everything is fucking different. You don't understand anything, you don't feel at home at your home anymore, and it's just sad. It's really fucking sad. And with that, well, what's left? And I feel like this is where we come into, you know, this sort of video tradition at this point, where I give you guys some advice about what to do. And truth be told, I don't know what to do. You know, a lot of times I try to give myself a word of wisdom. I try to make things seem like everything's going to be a-okay, but with the way that things are right now, the sort of circumstances that society have found themselves in anymore, it's really, really hard for me to give some good advice. That being said, I can tell you this, is that the future houses endless possibilities. You never know what the future is going to bring until it arrives. You can spend every single day of your life, you can spend every second of every hour, of every minute of every day, obsessing over what the future is going to be like and how horrible the thing is. You know, everybody's homeless, everybody's hungry. That is a fact of life, but we have to keep living in spite of it, because if you don't, if you just give up right now, if you lay on your side and say enough is enough, you will suffer for it. Nothing is going to come of just saying that you want things to get better. You have to put your face to that grindstone, and you have to make them better. It doesn't matter what other people think, it doesn't matter what they want, alright? The only thing that matters is what you want and what your friends and family and loved ones want. No one else, nothing else but you, because at the end of the day, that's all you can focus on. You can't focus on the big things, and, you know, if you do live in somewhere like, you know, Russia, the US, somewhere like that, where things are especially hard in the developed world, I'm sorry for you, okay? And just know that everybody, we're all as people together. We'll get through it at the end of the day. You know, things come and go, times come and go, wages come and go, jobs come and go, places of residence come and go, but the one thing that stays the same is you will always be yourself, and you can guide your path whichever way you want it to go, whether that be into the void or whether that be up into the sky. It's up to you, and my hope is that you, as the person, decide that the best place to go is up. My name is Trilot. If you did enjoy the video, please do make sure to subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. Also, make sure to drop a like on the video and comment to let me know what you thought about that. Join the Discord, link in the description. You know, this is a video that I have been wanting to make for a while, actually. It's kind of funny, if you think about it, just how much I've really been wanting to talk about the current state of economics and how bad they are. You know, I feel like this was a good story time, though, and if you did enjoy it, like I said, subscribe, like, join the Discord below. Watch my other videos that'll appear on screen here in just a second, and yeah, with that, my name is Trilad. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!